Welcome to the Fear and Greed Afternoon Report for Friday, the 16th of December 2022. I'm Sean Aylmer. Every afternoon we've got the 5 stories that happened today that you need to know about. Let's jump into it. Story number 1. The S&P ASX 200 finished the day down 0.8% to 7,149 points, which was a remarkably good outcome given the sell-off in global markets. I'll tell you all about global markets in a moment. Locally, it was rising iron ore prices, which hit a new 6-month high, that supported the bourse, as did the energy and industrials. But utilities were sold off along with technology and healthcare stocks. They're the ones that are interest rate sensitive. Among the large caps, CSL was down 2%, while National Australia Bank, ANZ, Macquarie Group and industrial property giant Goodman all fell by more than 1%. Rio Tinto was up 1.3%, while Woolworths, Coles and Woodside Energy all ended in the black. Story number 2, global equity markets tumbled over the past 24 hours as global central banks lifted interest rates, ramping up commentary saying there are more rises in the offing. Overnight, the European Central Bank slowed the pace of its policy tightening, lifting rates by 50 basis points, but President Christine Lagarde said rates would have to rise significantly next year to cool inflation. The Bank of England also lifted interest rates to their highest level in 14 years. That's 9 increases in a row in the UK. Earlier in the week, the US Federal Reserve increased rates by 50 basis points also. By the time overseas bourses had closed this morning, the S&P 500 had dropped 2.5% to its lowest level in more than a month. The tech-heavy Nasdaq had lost more than 3%, while the European Stoxx 600, which measures the top 600 stocks in that region, had tumbled by 2.85%. Story number 3. It's been a bit of a horror 24 hours for the Aussie dollar. After pushing beyond 68.5 US cents a couple of days ago, which was the 3-month high, it tumbled back below 67 US cents today before recovering just a touch. Basically, it's on the back of expectations that other economies like the US and Europe and England are going to keep pushing interest rates higher. And in the short term at least, higher rates in other economies look more attractive to global investors than Australia. Hence, they sell Aussie dollar denominated assets and buy into the US and other currencies, and the casualty is the local unit. Story number 4. Woolies is at it again, announcing yet another deal today that makes it 3 in 3 days. The grocery chain subsidiary, Healthy Life, is buying the non-retail assets, including key technology and a warehouse, of Super Pharmacy, an online pharmacy specialist. Okay, it's not huge. It's less than $20 million. But it does come the day after Woolies spent $586 million buying a pet product retailer, and 2 days after it sold down its interest in pubs and gaming group Endeavour. Earlier in the year, Woolworths lost in its bid to buy Australian Pharmaceutical Industries, which is now owned by Wesfarmers. Today's purchase kind of goes some small way towards addressing that. And story number 5, as is customary at this time of year, and over the next 6 weeks, in fact, the debate about whether Australia Day should be held on January 26 is happening. Early today, opposition immigration spokesperson Dan Tehan said new citizens were being told that January 26 is no more special than any other day of the week. He said that was evidence that the government is laying the groundwork to abolish Australia Day, or at least abolish it on January 26. It forced the Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, to come out and say he supports Australia Day and there'll be no change. I reckon we're going to hear a lot of similar stories over the next 6 weeks or so. That's it for the afternoon report for Friday, the 16th of December, 2022. Michael Thompson, Adam Lang and I will be back tomorrow morning with a weekend edition of Fear and Greed. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your evening.